This is your first vehicle. Welcome to Azusa Canyon OHV in SoCal, California. These are pictures before we had drones. This is what to expect. The do's and don'ts. Number one, don't drive up the river. It's 90-degree crossings only. Don't end up crossing something that's too deep. End up stuck. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time. And of course the mud. But be aware. Don't handle or bite off more than you can chew. We have a World War II military truck who snapped the worm gear and sent it flying after dragging 4 trucks. Just be aware, he was really stuck. Alright, so I have 4-wheel drive. This is basically stock except for a 2-inch lift. However, even without the lift, you can see by the tires how deep it is. It's not really going over the hubs. Lubrication, just make sure you're regular lubricated. It wouldn't be an issue. As for getting in the transfer case and stuff, it's far below that. Even if I did not have the lift on this particular vehicle, it wouldn't matter. Just to avoid the rocks. That got a little bit wet, but nothing drastic. So this is basically going to be the performance of a Jeep. This is the 1995 Jeep Grand Cherokee, which basically shares the same thing as the Jeep driving by, which is a TJ series. So you have a solid axle in the front, solid axle in the rear, with coils and drag links that hold the suspension in place. He had no problem crossing that river as well. It's not that deep at this time. Lubrication spots and maintenance are pretty much the same. Just remember, if you looked at my other videos, where it draws water from. I just went to the junkyard and replaced the filler to try to keep down the dust. I haven't gone down to test it yet, but if the headlights of this particular model go underwater, you risk flooding issues. This is just a performance of the good, the bad, the ugly. The vehicle's going down there. This is just the performance of the truck. I'm completely stock. I have the 6-cylinder 4-liter motor, which is supposed to be bulletproof. As I said, every time I go down there, I have to do some type of repair. This is going through the silt farm, as I like to call it. I've already told you why I don't like the automatics versus the manuals, which I know how to drive a manual and never had a real issue with them. They break all the same. It's just I have a better feel for the car, and I know what the tires are doing at one particular time when I'm running a manual transmission versus an automatic, as this vehicle is. I don't know which ones are spinning or if it's slipping. The silt on this is just absolutely horrible. You can see the cloud coming in. I actually physically shut off the engine just so I wouldn't suck into it. Every time I went down there and came back up, I would have to do this again. It's just absolutely horrid stuff. I'd like to start maybe a GoFundMe account and buy a water tender, take it down there to, well, we can make mud, but we also could keep down the dust. You have another side-by-side coming in here, and that's going to lead to another vehicle series on side-by-sides. Yes, I have one of those as well. Alright, we're going to go through the Dust Bowl. I believe I shifted into 4 high to make it across. I'm trying to eliminate a certain amount of spinning. I'm trying to keep the vehicle above the dust cloud so I don't suck it into my intake. Realize that if you're looking at the vehicle, it's going to be the lower left-hand side of the vehicle is where it's drawing in, and you can see that dust coming up all directions, which means it's going into the air cleaner. Hopefully not going through the air cleaner and into the truck, which, you know, I've lost 3 engines. The Jeep and the, I guess you can call it Chrysler Corporation or Mopar, they've been pretty good vehicles. I've had 3 of them, no, 4 of them. I wanted, the problem with the Jeep is they're underpowered, they're not powered enough. The chassis you buy, Jeeps are a little hard to get into. They just came out with a 4-door version, and they also came out with that Renegade, which is the Toyota or the pickup version, which I have those on my vehicle doing some central climbs. It's just the modern day cars are not as built as the older vehicles. The maintenance, the computers, for what? You're not getting better gas mileage. Now it's all about charging you money. I mean, the Toyotas, I've gone through probably 6 of those. Well, I didn't go through them. I had multiple Toyotas going from 1991 all the way to, I think my last Toyota was a 02. And then they started having the driving or accelerating without direction issue, and then I dropped them. But as you can see, overall the vehicle's fairly smooth. It's a Jeep, yet, you know, I get the creature comforts of the TJ series without the price tag. We're getting down in the mud hole right now, and as you can see, it's going all right. I just have to know what your limitations are. I have 4 high, I have low range, I have high range. The engine, as long as you keep the general maintenance, does pretty good. This was from the day before, where they were going through their mud hole that they made, and that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to get a tanker down there so we can make our own mud, maybe park it up at the Rincon station. Hey, if anybody knows how to start a GoFundMe, let me know, and if it's successful, I'm willing to put some money into it and maybe get a tanker down there on a regular basis. I know they did a GoFundMe for one of the pumps that failed, but I'm thinking like a military 6x6 used one. I don't know, they range from 15 grand to about 20 grand used. We park it up at Rincon, take it down there, and really have some fun on the weekends. But be aware, they're about to shut it all down again. I think tonight at midnight they're going to start the mask mandate again for the new variant. So just be aware. Okay, let's talk about the difference between all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. All-wheel drive does deliver power to all the wheels, but remember, when you have four-wheel drive, you have that option of low range. I get to the Dust Bowl trying to make it across, and I cannot do it, and it didn't matter about speed. What ended up getting me through was low range, high RPM, a lot of movement on the tires, and I just crawled over it. You can't always do that with a all-wheel drive vehicle. Four-wheel drive, it has its limitations as well, but all-wheel drive has what I believe to be more limitations than four-wheel drive. However, I've taken my wife's Honda CR-V all-wheel drive down here before. I've also taken it for the Baker to Vegas. So take whatever you have. Just remember the maintenance issues. As you can see, they take down dogs down there. By the way, directly in front of you is where they have the gate. I talked to the forest department about trying to have that moved further on down. Originally, under the settlement removement project, which I guess they funded for the next 3 to 5 years, they wanted to shut us off at the bridge. And the forest department's not trying to take away our fun. Technically, it's 62 acres. So the off-road area is allowed to be more. They're supposed to re-divert it. If we could just get another maybe 50 yards down there. We'd have all the mud we need to do. We wouldn't cause any issues. Um, you know, but we're working with the forest department now because they came down there, laid the gate, and walked away, and they're not even starting it now. Give us our play area. We pay money, a lot of money to go down there. As I said, going through the mild rivers, the kids are still in the car. It's not a big deal. You can look at my other videos if you want other people going through there. I'm going to stop it here. We're going to go back to the other side and we're going to do some hill climbs and see what other Jeeps can do. Okay, we're going to take a stock Jeep up to Spaghetti Mountain. There is some deep sand at the bottom, which I get stuck, back up, and then go up it. So I do have other footages of the two vehicles going up, but they're on my phone, and I don't have my phone with me right now. So I get stuck here. I'm shifting into 4 high or 4 low. Once again, it's an automatic, so I'm not 100% sure. I spin my tires. I'm like, oh great, we can't make it. Shift, verify what my gearing is. I could still be in 2-wheel drive. I don't know. It's just, as I said, I'm used to the old-fashioned manuals where it has a light. This one has a little scanner, but it doesn't always tell me what I'm in. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So I'm readjusting the linkages to make sure I'm in. I'm doubting I'm going to get out. I don't 100% know right now. Probably hear the kids in the background. So we're going to readjust, and I'm going to make another climb. Okay, so now I back up. I go, you know what? That wasn't too bad. I seem to have pretty good traction. Let me try it again. Start the climb. I'm in 4 low. Not an issue. I'm watching for rocks, making sure that my axle is separate right there on that rock. I cracked a frame on a K10. Split it all the way to the top of the rail. I have the priority going up. They backed up, and then I gradually made it to the top. And then if you check my rescue, it shows me going back down the hill to do it. So as a stock vehicle, the Jeep seemed to do pretty good. If it's what you have, that's great. If you need an SUV, I do know that they had this style.
Sorry about that.
And this is a good vehicle up until I think 2000, the 1999s and 2000s. Above that, I'm not 100% sure on the reliability or what it is. I talked to her cousin, and she said this vehicle was basically stock on the one to the left, and then we're just checking out the trail going down. I probably could have gone down to the right, but we decided to get down to the left. There's her Renegade. There's a 4-door version, so we all made it up without an issue. I got footage of them climbing. I think she had to do it twice because she was in the wrong gear, the white one. So we just chit-chat, and then we head back down. Now, remember, I'm up here because I think this is Toyota Hill, and that's my mistake. But they're calling on the radio that someone's about to roll on Toyota Hill. I went up here thinking it was them. It's not them. It's on the other hill as you first come in. The last 2 times I was down there, people had issues. The day before this, they did have a rollover of a white pickup. I don't know the specifics on that, but yeah. As a volunteer, we're there to help the best we can without the liability and other issues. So we had a little bit of fun and talked to them a little bit, and then we started heading down. You see my 2 kids there. So if you have a vehicle, by all means, go down there. I don't think you'll have any issues. Now, I do have the Federal mud terrain tires on the truck. I'm not so sure that you could probably go as far as I do with street tires. And just because they say mud on them, all tires nowadays have a mud and snow rating on them. I prefer something with either a all-terrain or a mud terrain. Now the mud terrains do wear quicker. You have to be aware of this issue. All terrains, they go back and forth. But I got tons of pictures, even with a mud terrain. Once you have it packed, you might as well go down there with baloney skins, because there's nothing to grab. You have to clear the treads in order to grab. That's why tractor tires are what they are. Okay, here's a good illustration of independent or IFS in the front and a solid axle in the rear. Now this is a Suburban, I believe it's a 2001. He's trying to get up and around him to be an anchor point to do the retrieval. I dropped this from my other video because it just took too long. But he makes several attempts to make it up there with the 2001. So he has independent four-wheel drive suspension in the front and has the rear. Now I tried to make it up here and I cannot do it as well. To make it up at least that side of the hill, I highly recommend a locker. And not a limited slip, a locker. A limited slip is going to allow it to lose traction before you go up, and that's where your issues are going to come in. A locker doesn't allow the slip, and people that know how to drive can do it both directions. However, I prefer a locker so I know the left side's going, the right side's going. If it's off the ground, you have to be aware of that. Instead of what we call the peg leg. So you saw him broke loose. One front brake's loose, one the back brake's loose, and you just can't do anything. It's an issue at that point, and once you lose that forward momentum, you're not going up anymore. That's where I was going to put it. There you go. Over the first, over the second, then drop into it. There you go. Oh!
What happened? What happened?
You got stuck again.
Why could they not pull it the other way?
Yeah, I don't know where that Jeep went.
So he tried to make another attempt, and this is why when I said the Chevys, and I have from 1974 to 1986, because that's when they have the solid axles. I'll be moving to Ford and Dodge later. I have a Dodge as well. I've had a couple Fords. So I'm going to end this video, and this is just to show you the capabilities of the Jeep, and I'll see you guys next time.